Miss Gray. For my ISP assignment, I decided to analyze The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood through the feminist lens. So let's get started. First thing I wanted to talk about is the way the novel is set up. It is a dystopia, but it was written in 1985, so we're talking about a predictable future. The author sets up a society where the males are dominant. Anytime there's a position of authority, it is a male leader, a male figure. The women are viewed as less than men. And so they dominate society and they ultimately reign. And so that also creates some relationship issues, as we can notice, between the males and the females. So, for example, we have the commander, who leads the group of females, and he's in charge of the entire Red Center and has way more authority and power than any of the handmaids or even the wives or any of the females. And that just shows the relationship between the males and the females. And then with these relationships, we can also observe some hegemonic masculinity. And the way that I personally viewed this was specifically in the novel when they talk about the ceremony. The female is used to create the baby. Their body is used to do the hard work, as some might say, where the commander is used to make it all happen. And so if we break that down from a hegemonic standpoint, we actually look at the males as being dominant and more powerful and maybe a little bit more fierce than the women, who are just there to kind of take care of the children. And so that plays along with stereotypes too, but specifically the males carry a specific thing that's a little bit more special and more valuable, as some might say, and the women do the hard work of creating the baby and carrying it for 9 months until delivery and then caring for it as they raise it. So as I mentioned, that flows into stereotypes. Women are only used for making babies. And we see stereotypes even today. There were stereotypes back then. There could be stereotypes in the future. But ultimately, the value of a woman is determined by their ability to reproduce a child. And it's really sad because women aren't even treated like people. They're treated like machines, things that just produce things. They just want you to pump out a child and they are happy. And that means that they have no freedom of life. So one quote I pulled was, and this is Offred, our protagonist, who is a handmaid. She says, "I avoid looking down at my body, not so much because it's shameful or immodest, but because I don't want to see it. I don't want to look at something that determines me so completely. I am a national resource." And that's her just saying, like, they don't even care about who I am as a person. They just care about my body and the fact that I can reproduce a child. So then the next part I wanted to talk about was the fact that they lose their personal identity. And ultimately, when we look at the book, I kind of think of it like if I'm walking past a colony of ants and I just see a little group of black things and they all look the same. You can't tell one from the other. Well, if you looked at the Red Center, all you would see is this sea of red, of people all dressed the same. They're all made to look the same because they don't really care one from another. There is no sense of identity, and they have to go along with more of a cultural identity, actually. And so one quote that I pulled about that was, "Each month I watch for blood, fearfully, for when it comes it means failure. I failed once again to fulfill the expectations of my own." And that leads us into the point that not only have they lost their self-identity, but they've lost any idea or value of what they want in life. They've been completely stripped of their own life, and now people are telling them what their expectations are and what their goals are. They have no sense of their own ideas. And I find that really sad because you're a person. You should get to live life the way that you want to. You have your own values. If society had its own values, we wouldn't talk about personal values, but we each have personal values. And so another quote I pulled was by Eleanor Roosevelt, and she said, "You have to accept whatever comes, and the only important thing is that you meet it with courage and with the best you have to give." Now, in certain circumstances, I could see that being really good advice if circumstances are unforeseen or things just aren't going the way that you would like them to. But when we're talking about a person's broad life, that quote just shouldn't even apply, because you shouldn't just have to give it the best that you have. No, it is a person's life. It is your life. You should be able to set your own expectations. You should be given the freedom of your life. You should be able to be unique and have some sort of self identity. But as the novel shows, these women have none of that. And the novel definitely points it out, not in a way to reinforce it in a positive way, but more so to make light of it and to say, this society seems so extreme, but if we take a step back and look at it, we can see similarities to today's society, our past society, and how our society is starting to advance in the future. And it's really scary, but really eye opening. So, yeah, thank you.